Well, Andrew, we're out the dressing room now, so tell me, what's it like when you're playing? You're going to walk down these stairs, we're on our way to the pitch now. What goes through your mind?
Well, I think the first thing to say is that actually by the time you got your pads on, your helmet and all that sort of stuff, you're starting to feel a bit calmer actually, bizarrely, because all the build-up beforehand, you've got all this nervous energy, whereas as you're coming down here, you're starting to switch your mind into, right, okay, I'm getting in my routine in place, I'm going to be going out there in a minute, I know what I'm doing, I've done this a million times before, but you come down these steps, I mean, this is the most special walk to the crease you have anywhere in the world, so often there's a lot of members either side of you, and you're quite conscious not to trip over and fall down the stairs. But by and large, you're just getting your head right. You're now approaching this door, and you're thinking, I know who I'm going to be facing out there. I've got to be calm. So it's that sort of deep breath. Keep calm. Do what you've done a million times. Don't let the outside stuff, the fact you're playing at Lord's, the fact that it's a big game. Don't let that influence you. Just do what you'd always do. Easier said than done, I must admit.
And what's it like when you're coming down, that's as an individual, when you're coming down these same steps as captain, leading the side out, that must be a completely different feeling.
Just hold it for a second. I need to be here. Okay.
Yeah, well, it is, because I think when you're coming down as captain, then you've got a little bit more adrenaline going, and I think also you're trying to lead the way, literally. So, you want to set the tone for what you're going to be doing out there in the middle for that session. If in the dressing room you've said, I want us to be aggressive, I want us to be noisy, I want us to be in their faces, then you've got to come down here and mean it. So, maybe you're sticking your chest out a bit and you're like, come on lads, let's go. And you get through here quickly and you run out to the outfield and you're there waiting for the batsman to arrive. So all that sort of stuff. I think, as captain, you are literally leading the lads, and it's important that you set the tone in that respect. But I think that here we are at Lord's. This is such a special thing to do, and I've done it hundreds of times in my career. But I never lose sight of the fact that I'm so lucky to be plying my trade, to be working at this very special place, and that will never change, no matter how many times I play here.
Gets even more nerve-wracking the next bit. Ooh. Oh, that's all right, you can stop there.
Jed, you might as well come from here, I think.
Fine.
Andrew as well, and as you
sure.
did, super and speed.
So yes, it's obviously an amazing, it's a nice thing you said it, it's still an incredible thing every time you do it.
Yeah, well, it just is special, isn't it? It's one of those places that's like playing golf at St Andrews or whatever. It is a truly special place.
It was my dream, like yours.
Was that?
Yeah.
Do you ever get close? Right, so this is the long room. Obviously it's looking quite empty today. During a game, either for Middlesex or a test match, there are a lot of chairs out. And it's amazing because what happens in here almost reflects the mood of the ground. So, I remember walking out in a test match with Marcus Strauss during the Ashes in 2005, and you could hardly get through all the members, and they're all screaming, come on! Like, it was amazingly sort of passionate entrance for us, and it's very hard to keep level-headed at that stage because you're packed in and you know how important it is. Sometimes it's a lot emptier, and certainly if you come back through the doors having got a low score, it can be a very silent and lonely walk back through here, with about 400 people staring at you, all knowing that you failed. It's not a great sight, but it's an amazing walk through here. As I said, you gauge the atmosphere of the ground, and by the time you walk through these doors here, it's time to do your job and do your business.
That's it. Really? So just say whatever.
Yeah. So as you get to the stage here where the door's in front of you, you know that it's time to get to work and do your business.
Perfect. Right.
Okay, and so if you can take the line, stay to that and work to side before we come around. Okay, speed.
Yeah, so I mean, it's an amazing atmosphere to the place, and it's a big room. Actually, it's a very big room for a cricket ground. So, Yeah, it's pretty special, all in all. And
Yeah,
then,
that's what it looks like.
and then you come out here, obviously, and it's a beautiful day, and aren't we all happy?
Incredibly so. In a Middlesex win, 100 or something like that. Right, ready. So now, the big moment. We're going onto the hallowed turf here at Lord's, something you've done many, many times before. What's the mindset as you're walking down these steps surrounded by all the members?
Well, I think, as I said in the long room, you're gauging the atmosphere of the ground as you walk through the long room, whereas I think as you come down to these gates down here, you're probably trying to blank it all out a bit now. You've seen, when you're up in the dressing room, you saw all the crowds here, you know what the atmosphere is like. Now it's a time to almost treat it like a club game of cricket and try and ignore everything. So you're almost completely tunnel visioned at this stage, and certainly by the time you hit the grass out here, you're going through your normal routine that you do if you were coming out to bat at Uxbridge Cricket Club or whatever. And ultimately it's a magnificent ground, but it is a cricket ground from now on. So you go from the stadium to the cricket ground and you try and do your job.
That's the walk from dressing room right through the long room, down the steps, and then down these steps onto the hallowed turf, as we're saying. What's been your favourite memory of doing that? Would it be a big Ashes win? Would it be a fantastic innings from yourself for either England or Middlesex, or what?
Well, I think I suppose the most memorable walk down was on my debut, I suppose, because it was the first time I'd done it, and that was really taking in the atmosphere, and it was all quite intoxicating. I think the most favourite memories I have of the ground are actually walking off. Having walked off, I suppose, Ashes in 2009, walking off 150 odd not out at the end of the day was pretty special. Walking off having won the Test match against Australia the first time since the 1930s. And also, beating India here last summer as well from a pretty difficult position to win that game and then go on to become the number one side in the world. It's been some special times, and especially at this ground.